these are ways of describing two kind of faculties of consciousness, two ways that our mind works in relationship to attention. So right now, you can hear the fan, you can hear my voice, you can feel your feet in your socks or on the carpet, you can see the objects in the room, and none of that was intentional, right? It's all just happening in your awareness. That kind of awareness is what the Buddha calls sati, which we often translate as mindfulness. But really, mindfulness as the macro practice, mindfulness as meditation, involves both of these faculties. So, sati, when talking about the relationship between sati and shamatha, you can think of sati as that faculty of awareness that is open, that is 360 degrees around. Like, think about how much that is pouring into your awareness of your sensory, emotional, and cognitive situation. I mean, it's unbelievable. You guys, your wonders that your spontaneously arising, luminous, vast awareness can hold it all. Like right now, you can remember the taste of a popsicle on a hot day from your childhood, and you're still hearing my voice and feeling your feet on the ground and hearing the fan, etc. It's amazing, right? So the faculty of awareness that is open, that is diffuse, spontaneous, peripheral, meaning it's taking in this whole thing, it's choiceless. You didn't make yourself hear the fan. The fan's just happening and it's in your awareness. You didn't make yourself hear the bell just popped into your awareness. It's light, it's inclusive, and it doesn't take any energy at all. This is one of the amazing things about pointing out this faculty. Imagine someone 2,600 years ago pointing this out as a faculty of awareness. I mean, it's amazing. No lab coats, no fMRIs, no EKGs. Just, hey, I'm noticing this thing about my awareness. Sati and shamatha are always functioning together. But the Buddha kind of drew them apart to kind of talk about them. Just like, if I say, hey, cool shoes, or I need a new pair of shoes, and someone gives me a new pair of shoes without shoelaces. I'm like, well, this is no use to me. Well, you didn't say you wanted shoelaces, you said you wanted shoes. Here's your shoes, get out of here. They go together, they work together, right? Shamatha is that faculty of consciousness or awareness, of attention, that's fixed, focused, and volitional, meaning you have decided on some level to listen to this knucklehead talk. So that's the part of your faculty of attention that's paying attention to this thing. You've made a decision to pay attention to this thing. Or like when we sit, and you're like, I'm going to pay attention to my breath. Or I'm going to pay attention to, whatever it is. That part that has decided, that part when you decide to pay attention, that's shamatha. It's chosen, you make a decision. It's heavy, relatively speaking. Meaning, there's a traditional example that the Buddha gives about sati and shamatha, which is, imagine if somebody hired you to cut down a bunch of banana trees on their land. And you thought, you know what, I'm going to need something really sharp. So you go home and you get a razor blade out of the junk drawer. And you go back there and you're just, oh boy. And somebody walks by and they're like, okay, I'm sorry. You probably have some reason you're doing this. That won't work. You need something really heavy to get through that. And you're like, I got you. I know what to do. And you go home and you get a baseball bat out of the garage and you come back and you whack, whack, whack. So the razor blade is sati. It's open and clear. Anything that hits it, it's right there, perfect, right? And the baseball bat would be shamatha. It's heavy. It's muscular. It's got a lot of force, right? But only when you combine them, i.e. you go to the garage or you go to Ace Hardware and you get a machete, you got the weight and the sharpness, and you go make short work of those banana trees and you get paid and you go home and you're happy. So the interesting thing that the Buddha noticed about shamatha is that, and this is something that modern neuroscience has discovered, it has a short duration. Have you ever heard of attentional fatigue? If you haven't heard of it, you've definitely experienced it. You go to a meeting that could have been an email, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die if this guy doesn't shut up. Like, I can't pay attention anymore to this. Or like, you're doing a task. I know for me, as someone who is a card-carrying person with an ADHD diagnosis, like it almost like hurts in my brain when I'm like done. And I'm like, I gotta check out. I gotta do something different. I'm wiped. Attentional fatigue. It's like a muscle that you can do a lot with, and then you gotta stop. But you can train it up. You can make it stronger. You can increase the stamina of your ability to pay attention, to attend to a task. When these two are operating optimally, you have the ability to be utterly present to whatever is arising, and you have the ability to pay attention to something that you have decided is important. Have you ever been upset about something and it was kind of tangled up, maybe in a relationship, and you're trying to think, you can't make heads or tails of it, you can't think, and whatever the issue is has been through your head 100,000 times since last Tuesday, but you weren't able to like grab it and hold it and watch it and unravel it. So optimally, when your ability to be clear and open and present to the entire scope of your experience, 5 senses, heart and mind, and then you're able to pay attention. Like, let's say you're sitting and and the gardeners have come, and you're trying to pay attention and you're finding it hard. You're trying to pay attention to your breath, let's say, and you're finding it difficult. Over time, you can strengthen your faculty of shamatha, of volition, of choice, to the point where you can exclusively pay attention to that and not get distracted. Because if there's one thing all of us know, it's the second you sit down, the mind goes, ha ha, watch this. I got a show for you. I'm going to start with every rerun you ever watched from 1979 on, and then we're going to go to jingles. And do you remember that one commercial for that McDonald's thing that you wanted as a kid? Here we go. Which is fine. And if that's a problem, because you can't pay attention to what you want to pay attention to, there's ways of dealing with that. But it's a good idea to start to develop that faculty of volitional attention. Simultaneously, sati is open and bright and clear and can help you just be present to whatever is arising. This is my $1.95 dissertation on the faculties of Sati and Shamatha, which the Buddha compares to 2 wings of a bird. It says there are people who are developed here and underdeveloped there. And there's people that are developed there and underdeveloped there. And then there's people who train. And that's the great thing about meditation, is you can start to become your own expert and notice like, I'm noticing that my attention is really flickery, and that's fine. Please, this isn't like, that's totally fine. But you can start with an eye towards that to notice. I'm noticing that my attention is really flickery today. It's really unstable. And you can start to work with that in a very gentle and skillful way. Maybe first by noticing that it's flickery and just paying attention to the flickeriness. It's almost like a workaround, right? Oh my God, my mind is spinning. Oh boy, buckle up. Watch the mind spin. That's your new meditation object. Congratulations. And over time, you'll start to develop that faculty of being able to be present in that really solid way. I really enjoy bringing this kind of material to you guys, and it's stuff that's all through the suttas, and even just making friends with those words, and even just starting to look at like how am I today? What's going on for me? And a lot of teachers will say that you need just enough shamatha to stay present with your experience. It's a lot of us spend most of our time being really picky and choosy about what is arising for us. Talking about me, I need my fan. I need to sit comfy. Obviously, there can't be any gardening going around. If there's a loud car out on the street, oh boy, how could I possibly meditate? And then even in here, I'm like having a painful feeling or a disturbing thought, and oh my God, I'm so reactive. So developing this ability to be present to and open for whatever is arising is so crucial to any kind of meditation you would do. All right. So on that note, in fact, why don't I do a little guided, just a brief guided shamatha. And of course, like I said, you need both. And what we'll do is we'll get comfy. Your eyes can be open or closed. If they are open, though, I invite you to level them at the floor in a broad, panoramic, unfocused gaze. And then I'll walk you through a really simple technique. But first, as always, remembering that any and all wholesome developments in this beautiful practice have as their foundation and their nourishment a vast, tender, open acceptance of whatever is arising. And when we practice like there is nowhere else to go. We practice like there is nothing else to do. Like there is no one else to be. Just take a moment and come to rest and notice how it feels to be you. I invite you to notice what it feels like to be you. Feet on the ground. Thighs, sit bones, and buttocks in the chair or cushion. Hands on your lap. Sounds falling into our ears. And this beautiful, sacred, precious breath that presents itself to be known by us thousands of times a day. I invite you first to just, in a general, soft way, notice the sensation of the inflowing breath, the outflowing breath, and notice if there isn't a pause in between the next inflowing breath. It's important to remember that your breath doesn't have to be any kind of way. It can be deep or shallow. It can be soft or hard. Our assignment is not to control our breath, but to observe it. Like waves rolling in and rolling out. Now, having chosen the object of the breath, I invite you to notice the inflowing breath, and then whenever feels good for you, at the closing of the outflowing breath, I invite you to count in your mind 1. And then on the next outflowing breath, 2, 3, etc. All the way up to 8. And then start over. Now thoughts will come and thoughts will go. And feelings and sensations. And that's fine. But see if you can gently but firmly hold on to the breath as the object of your meditation. And count each cycle as it comes and goes. Now I want to present to you a variation. If you notice that you are getting less relaxed and calm rather than more, or if the attention is getting more jumpy rather than less, I invite you to expand your scope of attention, like still counting the breath with the breath as the object in the foreground, but actively expanding your scope or frame to include your entire body. Or ambient sounds in the room as they surround your body and fall into your open ears. It's like you're at a dinner party and you can hear all the sounds in the room. That's sati. But you are having this electrifying conversation with someone you're really interested in. That's shamatha. In this last moment of this period, I invite you to let go of any counting, let go of any attention, and just notice any calm or peace or spaciousness that's present. Good job, guys.